Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Football Talk with Hawk. I am going to eventually change the name of the podcast, especially since in the off season I can't talk football for no reason. Going to be making up a lot of stuff, and it'll just be basically over and over again. So it'll change to Sports Talk with Hawk here momentarily after I get some new graphics done. But for now, it is still Football Talk with Hawk. At least that's what it says on the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are here. We are here. Divisional round weekend. It is currently Saturday morning. I am looking over some stats, looking over some trends, and I tell you what, this weekend is either going to be a really boring playoff weekend, or it's going to be one heck of a nail-biting weekend for fans across the country. One of the two. I don't know why the spreads are as large as they are in some games. I don't. I will never be able to figure it how the spreads all work the way they work and how they work and all the other stuff. But all that by itself aside, I absolutely am pumped for what this weekend is going to be. Absolutely pumped. We have got some ginormous playoff games. So let's dive right in. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you're on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button. It is deeply appreciated. So game number one, Texans versus the Ravens. Let's dissect what we know about each team. Number one, Baltimore seemingly only loses if they feel like losing. They beat the Rams, Miami, San Francisco, absolutely roasted San Francisco, crushed Detroit, beat up on Seattle. Division games are division games. If you can go 4-2 or 5-1 in your division in a year, I will accept it, and most people will, because doggone it, division games, you just don't know what'll happen. But they took everybody, and I mean everybody else, out. What else do we know about the Ravens? Well, they are a running back, basically cycling machine. Dobbins, Mitchell, Gordon, Edwards, Hill. Like, oh my word. And now Dalvin Cook is fully ready to play for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think he is a great fit for what they will most likely do. Their defense is second to none. Their defense is the same defense that Michigan runs. It was borrowed from the Ravens. That's what Michigan University runs. Jesse Minter is going to follow Harbaugh to wherever he goes in the NFL as his defensive coordinator. There will be two Ravens defense teams. It's just what's going to be. The way that this team plays, John Harbaugh is an absolute genius. They leaned into Lamar Jackson. They didn't overpay. They didn't disrespect him. But they understood he needed pieces around himself to truly succeed. I mean, come on, let's just be honest. Lamar, with that offensive line, the offensive coordinator, the organization that backs him up, they kept getting him weapons. I know it was seemingly they can't get the receiver right. Listen, it's not for a lack of trying. Hollywood Brown, Zay Flowers. It's just receiver hasn't really ever been Baltimore's strong suit. But you know what? They have done everything they need to do to make this team almost unstoppable. Throwing the ball, running the ball, clock management, game control, a defense that can make you have to grind everything out. They can make the game as short or as long as they want to. That's what we know about Baltimore. Now, what do we know about Houston? A rookie quarterback who I have never seen like this before. I know there are Colts fans that are like, yo, Andrew Luck, give me a break. Andrew Luck required quick throws, required getting the ball out, required him to make the decisions easily and only throw deep passes to T.Y. Hilton. He needed a lot more help than what C.J. Stroud does in year number one. C.J. Stroud manipulates the pocket like I have never seen a quarterback be able to do. He has the vision of a baseball player. He sees the entire field. It looks like he's got a bird's eye view when he's on ground level. D'Amico Ryans, defensive coach, coordinator, trusts his guys, willing to let them make a mistake, willing to let them be aggressive, makes adjustments, is an outstanding adjustment coordinator. He can make the adjustments and make you wish he didn't. Outstanding. What's going to be the tipping point in this game? Well, honestly, the stats just say it's going to be because Houston's on the road. It's cold. It's wintry. You got a team from Texas going to Baltimore. Now, that field has been often scrutinized. Okay? Very often scrutinized. So if it ends up being really wet and it ends up being sloppy, all bets are off. Houston has a good offensive line. They're not slouches on that offensive line. They've got tight ends that can block. There is a potential for them to be able to play the hard, nose to the grindstone ground game. There's potential for it. Houston does rely a little bit more on speed, a little bit more. But it all depends on the condition of the field. I've got the Ravens winning. I just can't see Baltimore losing at home, even with everything that CJ Stroud is and has been. I don't see the Ravens coming out flat enough to let the Texans settle in. Think about the last two games. The game against the Colts. Colts go down, get the field goal. Okay, we stopped them for only 3. They came out, one play, 75-yard touchdown. It was a 2-man route. If neither one of those guys are open, he's throwing it away, and that drive could go for 5 minutes, or it could be a 3-and-out. One play, roasted them. Second drive, settled in a little bit more. The playoff game, to me, showed how good of a coach DeMeco Ryans will be. He knew his team was young. He knew they were going to be excited. He knew there's going to be some mistakes early, and there were. There were some coverage mistakes. But he felt the team out, let them play a little bit loose, and then in the second half, dialed it so far in that the Browns were suffocated out of the building. He understands how to get this team to play. So do I believe he's going to be outmatched? Not necessarily. Do I believe the team is outmatched? Yes. It's the Baltimore Ravens. A legit Super Bowl contender powerhouse. So my guess is going to be the Ravens 27-20 over the Houston Texans. All right. Saturday night in Santa Clara. I don't know who this game favors. I almost would say in bad weather, it kind of favors the way that Green Bay has been playing recently. A little bit more hard, smash mouth type football game. Lots of tight end play. But in good weather, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, sorry guys. This is the one game of the weekend that I really feel could end up being a blowout quick. And not, I know, I can hear the Packer fans going, "You're just not a believer yet." No. I believe in what you're building. I believe in the majority of what you have. I also believe you've played nobody except the Cowboys. And you beat a very, very unprepared Cowboys team. You don't lead 27-0 at half if they're actually ready to play some football. You just don't. Everybody will be healthy for the 49ers. They did it right. They're going to come out. They're going to be fast. And this is the game that I feel Jordan Love is going to have a couple of those troll critics come back out after this game because he may not look the greatest because he's going to have to throw the ball a ton with no running game being really present. And that's not his style right now. That is not his style. We can't lie about that aspect of it. It's not what he does right now. So, due to that, I just feel like San Fran can jump out on top of them a lot faster. They can get down 14-0 really quick. I don't know if Matt LaFleur is the same coach that DeMeco Ryans is to calm the team down. Based off of his previous playoff experience in games, I say no. I don't think he's that coach to be able to settle all these kids down and go, it's all right, relax. You get down 14-0. He's going to have to look at Jordan and go, we need a drive. We need a drive. We can't give the ball back to them in 6 plays, 3 plays. We need a drive. Let's go. He's going to have to do that. And will Love be able to stay poised and calm when that happens? I think it's going to be a great game for Jordan Love. Not because I think he's going to light up the stat sheet, but because he needs this type of game after all the success over very mediocre defenses. So I think it's going to be great for Love. I think San Fran could really pull this one out quick. I've got it kind of creeping back in at the end of the game, but I'm going to go 34-20 San Francisco over Green Bay on Saturday night. All right, game number 3. The Buccaneers at the Lions. The Lions offense, so these teams played earlier in the year, and Detroit beat them 20-6. Mayfield was not good in that game. Bucks were home. And they lost 20-6. I don't think right now that that's going to happen. I don't think only 20 points for the Lions is going to happen either. You can say that Tampa Bay completely shut down Philadelphia. You can say that. Remember something they did stop. Remember what they did stop. It's 16-9. And the tush push fails on the goal line. I know it's a what if. I know it's a what if. That game against Philly is a lot closer if that tush push works. Just saying. Detroit will be able to come out and probably get a 17-6, maybe 17-10 lead. Tampa Bay can score. Detroit's back. The Detroit secondary is not good. They're really not. They are opportunistic. But in the general coverage sense, they're not that good. I will give them the credit they deserve, though. When it comes down to shutting down games, They do their job. But it's spots, and spots work. But to get yourself to not have to be there, you got to play a full 4 quarters of football, and their secondary seems not to. So I think Otten, Evans, Godwin, Rashad White, they're going to get yards. It's going to be a yardage game. I absolutely believe that. They're going to get yards. They're going to have some fun. I believe this game looks more like Detroit may want to try to run the ball a little bit more. Vita Vea in the middle is really hard to run on, but honestly, you can push the ends. The way that this line is set up, you can really push the ends. I think Detroit is probably going to be able to run a little bit harder. They did a great job last week with Aaron Donald. I mean, putting only 2 hats on Vita Vea instead of having to do 3. I really think that Detroit, give their coaches credit. They knew exactly what to do, and they did it well. St. Brown, Jared Goff, I think are just going to find pockets, get them the ball, run after the catch. Detroit, I believe, is going to win. I do believe there is a big aspect of the fact that Tampa Bay is going to be able to score some points. I do believe that. This one's really hard for me because I want to say it's going to be close. I kind of believe it's going to be close. Detroit has had a hard time actually shutting people down in the second half, and they tend to let them back in the game. So I'm going to go 30, 27, 30-24, something around there, win by Detroit. That is what I'm going to go with for this weekend. All right, next one. Buffalo at home, capital H-O-M-E, home against Mahomes. Now, this rivalry has turned into the Brady and Manning 2.0, and to be very clear, I do love it. Now, full disclosure. Mahomes lost a lot of credit from me for his antics after the game against Buffalo when Kadarius Toney was off sides. The flag was thrown at the beginning of the play, not in the middle, the beginning. It wasn't a flag that hadn't been there. It was already there. So all the whining really rubbed me the wrong way. And then his post game with Josh Allen, Allen beat him. And when Allen got that done and beat Patrick Mahomes, all Mahomes could do was go up to him and go, I've never seen a worse call in my life. Really? The words are, great game, Josh. Good win. FYI, Patrick, that's the professional thing to do. I'm sorry. He lost a lot of points with me when it comes to professionalism and integrity and how you act. You can be frustrated all you want. The guy is now, to me, he's not one of the most professional players in the NFL. He's a kid that got handed everything, and now he doesn't have everything. He doesn't have his amazing receivers. He's got an aging tight end. He has one low-end receiver one in Rashee Rice, which deserves a lot of credit. I'm sorry. Mahomes will crumble on the road. I've been called crazy all week by different people. It's okay. I get it. Mahomes on the road. Think about the Super Bowls, guys. Think about the Super Bowls. How has he looked? Go back to the first one. San Francisco beat him. If Garoppolo could actually throw the ball to the wide open players that were there. Mahomes looked awful. Awful. The game against Tampa Bay, awful. Go to when he's not at home. And they do count neutral sites as neutral sites. He has never played a true road game. Because of that, Buffalo will be rocking. The weather, I'm taking the more physically gifted quarterback at home. Yeah, there's not a lot of true analysis on this game. I get it. Let's just be real. At their best, in a dome, these teams match up so well. This is a great game and one that we could watch every week if we could. All right, what that we would watch every week if we could. This is that game. This is that game. Mahomes, Allen, it is wild. Absolutely wild. What these teams are going to be able to do. I just don't think, when you look at everything, this year, all encompassed, everybody goes, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Listen, I trust Andy Reid, but Andy Reid got beaten in the Super Bowl by a really good defensive coordinator that absolutely just blistered him. The reality is Kansas City has a ginormous weakness on their offensive line. It is the right tackle. Taylor is one of the worst right tackles in the league. And if I'm Buffalo, I am letting Von Miller, I am letting anybody go after that right tackle when they get in passing down situations. I am playing a zone behind everything. The Raiders played a 4-man rush zone and beat the Chiefs relatively easily. I honestly think that Buffalo, in a weather game, could probably do the same thing. Just play zone. Don't let everything go past 7 yards. Make them be short. Because if they have to be short and quick, you can cheat up. You can cheat up. And when they try to go deep, let's just be honest, I'm going to trust my pass rush to get to Mahomes. Because that right tackle is not going to be able to hold up. Miami couldn't take advantage of it. Buffalo will. Buffalo will. That team will take advantage of it. So, my thoughts are the weather's going to be interesting. I think that stays lowish scoring. I think they may try to control the ball a little bit more. I'm not really sure the way that these teams are going to try to go because Kansas City came out last week and just was throwing the ball against Miami in wind chill that you don't want to be out in. So that's the reality. But here's the other reality. Buffalo is good. Since firing their offensive coordinator, they're on an absolute tear, and there is no reason to believe they're not going to continue trudging along. Just no reason not to believe that. It's really just where we're at. That is really exactly where we're at with it. So this week I've got the Ravens. I've got all home teams. The Ravens, the Niners, the Lions, the Bills. And with the long, lengthy injury report the Bills have, if the Chiefs end up somehow pulling it out because the Bills just can't get off the field on defense, I'm not going to be outrageously shocked. I just believe Allen is the better quarterback, and it's going to fuel the Manning-Brady debate even better because that is what these two are. But getting Brady at home was what Manning needed. Remember, the first time he had him at home, we did one of the dumbest play calls ever. The only time I truly disagreed with what we were doing is that first one where they stopped us on the goal line. They wanted to go run. Trust me, I'm putting the ball in Manning's hands when the offensive line is outweighted by a ton. And they were keying on run first and trusting their corners. That's what they did in New England. I'm letting Manning throw a hitch to Harrison, or doing a play action back of the end zone to the tight end. We ran it, stuffed. Only time I truly disagreed with the play call that we did in the game. One of the only times. So, all home teams this weekend. Nothing really shocking, nothing really surprising. Tampa Bay could easily keep that game close, and they could pull it out over. They could pull out that win over the Lions because it's a dome. I've said it I've said it this whole season. I don't think domes are as nearly as much of an advantage, as what they used to be. They are loud. Teams are better at silent counts, but not great because of how many teams now go up to the line of scrimmage with 3 plays. Check with me. Check. Kill. Listen, that does hurt it. Okay, the noise does hurt that. But in the general sense, the teams are faster on turf. Teams are able to do more on turf. They're able to play. They're comfortable. They're loose. I don't think it's as much of an advantage as Buffalo really is against Kansas City. Okay. So there is my divisional preview and picks. Now let's go to the head coaching. Antonio Pierce is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Congratulations, Antonio Pierce. Congratulations to Gerard Mayo, the head coach of the New England Patriots. Gerard Mayo, I have a lot more questions on. Antonio Pierce, I don't. Mark Davis did the smart thing. He gave the players what they wanted, and now everybody in Las Vegas that is not named Mark Davis, or my guess is Champ Kelly, the GM, can be held accountable for what happens even more. Now, what do I mean by that? The players wanted him. The players threatened to request a trade if he wasn't the coach. Well, now you better ball out. Now you better show me that I made the right decision in trusting my players that I have in this organization, potentially over my gut feelings. I think Antonio Pierce is a good addition. I am worried about if the Chargers do get Harbaugh. And there are a ton of interviews that have been taking place. And after this divisional round weekend, you're going to be seeing all the hirings. The fired coaches, or the coaches that are going to be moving around, are going to get the jobs after the divisional round. The other thing about what happened today, and it happened late Thursday, Cliff Kingsbury is interviewing for the offensive coordinator position in Chicago. Where was Kingsbury last year? USC. Listen, it is the Bears move. If you hire Kingsbury, you are basically saying, yep, we're drafting Caleb Williams. And I know there's going to be those, he could come in and help Justin Fields. No, he's not. No, he's not. You've got a lot of coordinators that Luke Getsy wasn't doing bad with Justin Fields. The play calling was not the problem. If you're going to go get the USC assistant and to have him as your offensive coordinator, guess what? You're drafting Caleb Williams, which really makes these mock drafts even better because there is a team sitting at 4 that's going to have so many offers for that pick. Especially if the Tennessee coach, whoever it may be, does not come out and directly say, Will Levis is our quarterback in 2024. If that's not said, they could go get a quarterback at 6. Or sorry, 7. 6 is the Giants. Everybody knows they need quarterback. Brian Daboll is not going to suffer through another year with Daniel Jones. He's not. Come on. It gets interesting. Michael Penix, Bo Nix. I mean, I don't like him. But J.J. McCarthy could be a late first pick. I don't think he deserves it. But he could be. Five quarterbacks in the top 12. On top of the team that will probably trade for Justin Fields. And potentially the team that gets Russell Wilson. Justin Fields is an interesting part of what this is going to be. Because I already believe that Kirk Cousins is going to stay in Minnesota. Fully believe that. So if you're a team that's lower, if I'm the Falcons, I'm going after Arizona's number 4 pick. I get the 4th best quarterback because it's going to go quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be sitting, waiting for somebody to draft him. But Arizona is once again going to be offered a boatload of picks. And they're going to look behind them and go, the Giants need a quarterback too. The Chargers, they could go either way. If I'm the Chargers, I'm going offensive line. Hands down, I'm going offensive line. We got to protect Herbert. But maybe they'll go Harrison. The Giants, maybe quarterback. The Titans absolutely need offensive line. Absolutely need offensive line. Jets, not sure where they would go. But listen, if you're the Cardinals, I'd be happy with Brock Bowers. If you're able to switch everything around and get Brock Bowers. If Brock Bowers is available to the Jets at 8, knowing that Rodgers is there and knowing the Jets organization, I would try to entice him with the next pick behind you. Don't let them take Bowers. Bowers is a game-changing tight end. Game-changing. We have seen this year. Okay, there were drafts. The rookie draft. Jake Ferguson, Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta. In fantasy, these guys were amazing. Tight ends matter a lot. Sanders from Texas is a big tight end. Okay? Brevin Spann from Minnesota is going to be a big, needed tight end for some team. I don't know which one, but for some team, he will be. Brock Bowers absolutely would work in Arizona. They could run 2 tight end sets. They could really run the offense they want to run. But it's just so interesting because of the coaching hires. And we haven't heard about everything else that could take place. There are a lot of things that I think are being kept under wraps, which is awesome. Because that just makes it more fun to conjecture. There's no rumors that you want to believe or follow, whether it's Pellisario, Schefter, or Rappaport. So because of that, like, we still have the Eagles haven't made a decision on Sirianni. Nobody said a word. What if Pete Carroll goes and coaches the Eagles? Can you imagine Pete Carroll with that defensive line? I mean, please save whoever the quarterback is playing them each week. Like, just the way that this coaching landscape is going to change this offseason. Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel. Just say those names out loud and understand they're no longer at their team. Ron Rivera, fired. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't. I don't know if he'd be willing to accept a coordinator position or if maybe he'd go to the college level. I don't know. He may just be done. The way that all this plays out is amazing. The coaching aspect for the Raiders, wrapping them up, is that it sounds like Marvin Lewis is going to come back to coaching as one of the coordinator positions. And can I say this really simply? I love that. Marvin Lewis is probably going to get a 2-year, maybe a 3-year deal. And his goal is to help somebody he helped when he started playing football. He's coming and helping one of the young men he helped groom. And he's going to help Antonio Pierce groom even more into the coach he needs to be. I love that. Kudos to Marvin Lewis for doing that. Lovie Smith was able to do it. Looks like Marvin Lewis will be able to do it. I absolutely love it. That is awesome. That is awesome. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do with the staff positions. Bill O'Brien has been hired as the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. I'm kind of intrigued about this. This almost looks like a move saying, we're going Michigan. We're going to beat Michigan with Michigan. We're going to beat Oregon this year with Michigan. Like, there's a lot of these aspects that kind of lean towards Ohio State, and Ryan Day are going, all right, that's it. Gloves off, time to get physical. And that's what they're going to do. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, and I'm here for every second of it. So that is the current news that is out there with the coaching. Really intrigued by what's going to happen with Cliff Kingsbury in Chicago. That's a wild one right there. That is a wild one. But we'll see what's going on. We're only a few days away from when these teams will really start hiring some of these guys. They're going to start getting them in. We're sitting down to the third week of January. The NFL wanted to elongate everything. It worked. I've told you that. You know, I applaud what they've done, but now it is go time. Get your head coach in. Get your head coach in and get rolling. It's time. It is time. The only guys we know cannot be hired are those that are still currently playing. So we know if the Lions win, Ben Johnson can't be hired. We know if, well, I mean, honestly, I don't know of many other coordinators from the other teams that are really being sought after for head coaching positions. Besides Steve Wilks from the 49ers, he's had 3 interviews, I believe. So potentially Steve Wilks. Not sure, but potentially. It's just interesting. Bill Belichick had his second interview today with Arthur Blank. He's fired. You can hire him. Blank can hire him. Unless Bill asks for something that Blank's just not comfortable with. A second interview, I mean, that's, Unless he's garnering a ton of information, unless, Blank is like, all right, I want to know everything. They only got through 70% of what Blank wanted to know, and he's like, I'm bringing you back again. We're going to go over the rest. I want the other 30. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for it. All right, guys, football is just about to start. The divisional round is about to kick off. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for the support. It's going to be a wild weekend. Good luck to all the teams, and good luck to each one of you fans. Hopefully, your team will win. It's the best I can do for you. All right, guys, thank you so much. I will see you guys next week when we find out who the conference championship games will be and go over whatever happens starting next Monday morning with the coaching hires and different aspects that are sure to come out with player movement, trades, potentials, etc. I will see you guys on Monday. And until then, for Football Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. It's time for playoff football.